you to the point where you find yourself in the pit. You end up being so overwhelmed that you get caught up in that storm of thought, of emotion. It's a powerful time. It might be a dark time. It might last for perhaps only part of an hour. It might last for hours or even days. What do you experience during that time? What, if any, do you have an approach to how you spend that time? And what do you do to get out of the pit? I can relate. I know exactly what it's like. Hi, I'm Rick Cram. I'm a resilience coach and creator of something called Plan to Be Your Best as You Navigate Pain. It's based on everything from my caregiving training, my corporate work, even as a communications professional, because communication is what drives positive change. And that goes so much into the different strategies and skills that are within the Plan to Be Your Best approach, which is designed to certainly help us get out of the pit. It's mostly designed with the overall intent. The design of the Plan to Be Your Best approach is really all about transforming your journey of pain into a journey of resilience. Also, perhaps more than anything else that has gone into the Plan to Be Your Best approach and strengthening it, even in recent months, is my own journey with pain for decades now. And since surgery number 7 on my left knee in 2019, living with chronic daily pain, I get it. I'm a holder of hope for you if you're in pain. If you're in the pit right now, I'm going to walk us through a variety of steps that I have just done myself. I'd say over the past couple of days, I've been in the pit, and part of my daily pain experience and my journey of resilience involves being in the pit usually a few times a week. What I experience are random blasts of acute pain. And there, you might have seen in a recent video where pain happens in the moment, but so does resilience. And when it's frequent enough, or generally, since it's dozens of times a day on average, I end up in the pit 2 or 3 times a week. But I don't stay there because of the ways that I use the Plan to Be Your Best approach, because of things that I do in the pit. And let me share them with you right now. I'm going to use the 3 steps of resilience to walk us through what it's like to actually go into the pit, be there, and have it be time that's just not a matter of sitting in and soaking in the depression, soaking in the pain of it all the thoughts, all the emotions that come with it, but is a time of active lamenting in which we're very deliberate about what we do, even when it's painful. The 3 steps of resilience includes step 1, to tune in, step 2, to plan, and step 3, to be your best. And I'm with you now in this live program, and you can come back and use this recording to walk you through the steps yourself, so that if you're in the pit or fearing you're heading in there, or even to apply this phrase. Are you familiar with the term stay ahead of the pain? When it comes to pain management and using meds, doctors have often and nurses have often said, and I learned this a long time ago back in my teens, that to stay ahead of the pain by virtue of taking the medications on time, or maybe even slightly ahead of time, so that the pain doesn't get on top of you. The same can be said for how we approach different ways of being resilient. Some of the different strengths and skills that are found in the Plan to Be Your Best approach can help us stay on top of the pain, stay on top of our resilience, and keep moving forward, even with the pain. So let's tune in. I'm going to share with you what I found so helpful, even and maybe especially when I'm in the pit, is to tune in to understand exactly what I'm experiencing, understand exactly how I am thinking about it, how I'm feeling about it, including what meaning I give to the pain experience. Even in the depression, I will be this lion of intentionality, You've heard me say it, and I'll say it probably in every program. The level of pain needs to be matched by the level of intentionality. And that intentionality looks like this: that we think the thought. Maybe it's the honest thought of what we're experiencing. We write down the thought. We say the thought. And then we act out the thought. And here's what I mean. Let me share with you, for example, a couple of days ago, I've been in the pit for the past few days. The pain has just been so overwhelming. I'm sitting here energized because I've come out of the pit with the help of a good night's sleep last night, which was key. But this is what I journaled the 2 days ago as a part of, and I'll share with you each of the different steps that I took to make that time in the pit, even in the depression, to make it productive and active time of lamenting. Here's what I wrote: time in the pit isn't idle. It isn't idle lamenting. It's active and productive. It's very, very difficult. To a great extent, I don't have words for the pain that I experience. There are over 20 different pain sensations that I have, and many of them are a 10 out of 10 on the pain scale. It's very, very difficult. Lately, an experience as if the pain and stress is attacking me. What I mean by that is that, and this has been common over the past several months, is that the pain and the mental and emotional stress has been as if it's harassing me. It's harassing my being. It's harassing my mind, my soul, my nervous system. It's been different than it has been in the past. I went on to write that the stress is attacking me. The pain and stress is attacking me, but it's also a time of active caring for myself. And it's working through the mental and emotional stress, a necessary time of caring, grieving, and healing, with frequent reminders of my confidence and strength. So when I tuned in and journaled that was an example of what I mean by active lamenting. To actually these were my thoughts, and then I wrote them down. And then I had a conversation with someone that I meet with regularly, and I get the chance to talk about what I'm experiencing in that time of tuning in. And so talking about it gives me a chance to actually focus on it. And that focus turns to experiencing it, both the difficult, painful aspects of it, but also the healing aspects of it, especially talking about and thinking about the confidence and talking about the strengths that I have to be in touch with those. So let me invite you to tune in. What is it that you're thinking? What is it that you're experiencing? What do you understand about it? If you'd like, you can pause this if you're watching the recording at my website, rickcram.com. You'll find on the homepage, as well as another page, the way to access for free a download of the 3 Steps of Resilience worksheet. Totally free. As soon as you type in your email, you'll have it right there. It comes right up. It's a fillable PDF where you can make multiple copies and apply the 3 prompts of tuning in, plan, and be your best to exactly what you're going through in a moment. You can also use it. You'll see there's an option to indicate that you're going to be using these 3 steps of resilience for a future time of resilience, something you might be anticipating. It can be a very effective way to have a plan to be preventative for going into the pit or being so overwhelmed by the pain. One of the ways I've found the 3 steps of resilience to be especially effective is after bad news. For example, it's very difficult to keep going to doctor and trying different things and finding that they don't provide me with any relief. So I often come back from those disappointing, stressful doctor's visits and work through the 3 steps of resilience as a way of helping to process everything I'm experiencing and rebounding from it. In effect, it's the rebounding again and again is what resilience is all about. I'm going to pause just for a moment here to see if there are any particular comments. Please do share any thoughts or questions. If you've got any thoughts, and if you're with me live at this particular moment, go ahead and share with me as we take this first step of tuning in. What is it that you're identifying? One way to approach it is to use one word or a phrase to describe what's the primary source of pain that you're experiencing. Go ahead and actually write it in the chat or in the comments if this is the recorded session that you're watching, and I'll still follow up with you with some helpful tips from Plan to Be Your Best that you can use. So the idea of being that intentional, there's the thought that we have, or a number of thoughts. It's as if we all, day in and day out, moment in and moment by moment, we have a lot of thoughts. But I found as part of the pain journey, and when I'm working with someone and caring for someone in pain, but I find when I'm caring for and working with as a resilience coach with someone in pain, and being someone who experiences pain myself on a daily basis, I think we do a lot more thinking. I'd say it's fair to say we do a lot more feeling. So it's all the more important that we take those thoughts and express them. We tell our stories. We share them not only in journaling with ourselves in any form. Sometimes I journal into my iPhone notes. Sometimes it's a certain document that I have where I've got hundreds of journal entries to capture what I'm thinking, like what I just shared with you. That processing is part of what's getting it out. So then we move into the plan stage, the plan step. We've tuned in, we've gained an understanding. We've tuned in and gained an understanding of what we are feeling, what we're thinking. What are the primary sources of pain? What are those secondary sources of pain, those stressors? For example, there's the stress of having a loss of comfort. There's the stress of not being able to go for walks or be active in any way other than working out, which I do just about every day as part of my pain management strategy with some free weights for lifting weights in my upper body, using my total gym machine. Sometime I'll tell you about the story of when Chuck Norris invited me to work out with him. I bought my total gym machine as soon as I got home from that. But if we look at what we do from those steps, we think it, we feel it, we write it, we say it, and do it. Doing it is part of that third step of Be Your Best. The idea of taking time in the pit and experience what it is to go through it and work through it is part of what it means to be resilient. The idea of doing this is how I find time and time again of getting out of the pit. Step one, tune in and really spend some honest, really good quality time of active lamenting, of active grieving, good grief, because the pain is so overwhelming that I believe is absolutely necessary. Then when we move into the plan step and think about what can I do right now? What are those thoughts that I can choose? What are those feelings that I can choose and pursue? What are those actions that I might take? One of the things that helps me, especially during the time of being in the pit, is to get some exercise, to get breathing, to change the focus from everything that's overwhelming to focusing on the reps of lifting weights, for example, to focus on the breathing that I'm doing, to focusing on the strength that I'm building, the positivity that comes from that. I found that's one of my best pain management and stress management techniques. It's one of the key things in my resilience toolkit. What's in your resilience toolkit? What works for you? Take some time. Let me invite you to take some deep breaths again at this particular moment and think through, do some planning, which means in the process of doing it, what you can experience is that just as the planning activity, don't worry about the plan just yet, having a plan. Just focus on the planning, the thinking about possibilities, the thinking about options, things that you have control over, because that actually helps with the prefrontal cortex, part of our brain, which is responsible for our ability to navigate and moderate our stress. The cortisol level reduces. We can experience a time of calming, and actually that creates more clarity and better thinking, and eventually decision making for that third step to choose something and then to move forward with it. I'm going to pause here and just ask if you've got any particular thoughts or questions for me as we're here live on YouTube and Facebook. One of the things that is so key with any attempt, any way that you might work to build your own unique resilience, is that it does pay off more than just coming out of the pit. The stronger your own unique resilience, and the more you're able to identify your own unique way of thriving, even in the pain, increases measurably your ability to sleep, your ability to relax, your ability to have a higher quality of life. So it's worth every measure that you put into it. It's worth every measure of being deliberate and intentional in this way, and you're worth it. This time of being in the pit can be especially difficult because it's as if we get stuck there. It's harder to take action. It's harder to think about doing something new or doing something different. That time in the pit is a trap, and therefore one of the most, let me put it to you this way. Therefore, one of the most important things to do is to actually counter that sense of feeling stuck, that overwhelm of pain and emotion, to actually reverse it using two particular qualities that comes out of going through learning how to plan to be your best as you navigate pain. And let me put it to you this way. Let me illustrate, and it was key to my reemerging from the pit over the past 24 hours. It's a quality of courage. And let me describe it this way. Courage is a combination of both conviction and wisdom. In the pit, sometimes it's as if that strong sense of conviction is what can get compromised. But on the other hand, if we have the wisdom, knowing that the 3 steps of resilience works, having the confidence, and I'd say if confidence is embraced anywhere in us, it's in our wisdom. If we don't lose sight of our wisdom, it can more than make up for the loss of conviction when we're in the pit. And that wisdom means I'm going to do these things. I am going to tune in. I'm going to think. I'm going to write it. I'm going to speak it. And then I'm going to do it. That the wisdom of knowing that those steps work is what gets us out of the pit. It's not easy. I know. No solace for me, but I'm in the pit generally a few times a week, dealing with the daily pain that I have. There's no avoiding it. And it's not easy. And it can be dark. But I don't stay idle in the pit. I'm staying active even in the pain, because within my wisdom, I know it's going to work. So I press on, not fighting. This is what I mean when I say it's trading the fight for flow. So in this plan phase, in this plan step of the 3 steps, tune in, plan. What ideas have you come up with? What thoughts might you choose to think, to write down, to speak, and to experience it? Or what emotions might you choose to pursue? We do have the ability to choose and chase certain emotions. They might not, if I might say, for example, I want to pursue an emotion of gratitude, which is one of my most effective resilience toolkit techniques, the thought and emotion of having an attitude of gratitude, it always works. Maybe not right away, but sometimes it does work right away. But I end up experiencing, the more that I focus on and think about something I am grateful for, I start to experience it. And that means I'm trading the focus on the pain for the focus of something that's positive and good and helps me move forward. Another part of this is that when we move into the be your best step and actually follow through, just as that's one example of following through on it. I might say, for example, I'm thankful for this day. I'm thankful for the blue skies. I'm thankful for all that I've learned about myself through the course of this very painful journey, this journey of resilience. I am thankful for having the opportunity to have gotten to a point where I found what needs to go into the plan to be your best approach and to share it with you, to identify how I'm thankful for this. Energy comes from it, identifying my purpose. This is my purpose. The idea of that idea of energy, to a great extent, this is a journey of energy in the pit. We might be exhausted mentally and emotionally. We're overwhelmed so much so that it's hard to create energy in those moments, in that space and time. It's challenging to think about how can I preserve my energy during this time? How can I create energy, use energy, preserve energy? Because this is, to a great extent, an experience of, or the lack thereof, of energy, mental energy and emotional energy. As we get into that third step and following through, such as with an attitude of gratitude, it's in the focusing on that, actually following through. As I often say, we can only be our best in the moment. If pain happens in the moment, resilience happens in the moment. And that resilience is being my best. I can talk about how I'm going to be my best at some point in the future, but it's only real when I'm actually actively working on it, pursuing it, doing it in the moment. And there's so much goodness that comes from it. It has a building effect. And to that point, the recycling of those three steps of resilience, it might take, and often does take, numerous. It often does take, with the three steps of resilience, doing it over and over again, repeatedly, sometimes rapidly, sometimes patiently over time. Eventually, those are the keys to getting us out of the pit. And then, if you will, let me tap into two different parts of the 8 domains of thriving. One is the now domain, where we think and work on and follow through on these 3 steps of resilience in the now moment. This is what makes the now moment so productive. There's the honesty and the caring, even the healing that starts to take place in tuning in. And then in the planning, where we're able to be so intentional that we actually experience a greater level of calm, reduction of the cortisol, and then be our best, follow through and take action in the now. That's what it looks like to having productive lamenting. It's active lamenting. It's not idle. It's not doing nothing. In a way, if there's any particular challenge in a way, if we look at these experiences, what doesn't work? Doing nothing. And so it's being active, even in the lamenting, in the pit, being active in the pit and active in our lamenting. As tough as it is, it's the very thing that's going to help us reemerge from the pit. The third point I'll make about this, another point I'll make about this is that from the triumph domain of thriving is the so important step of celebrating the results of using the 3 steps of resilience, celebrating, honoring the triumph of getting out of the pit time and time again. One of the reasons why is that when we connect a positive emotional experience to what we are going through and celebrating the victories, we are creating new patterns of thought, new patterns in our brains, neurologically, rewiring our brains to be more resilient, to thrive more. The confidence that comes from being able to come out of the pit time and time again is something that we can remember when we're in the pit. So one of the things that I mentioned in that journal note from earlier, I used the word remembering my confidence. That means I'm focusing on my confidence. And that was actually critical to, I'd say, completing the reemergence of getting out of the pit. Just as we focus on each and every aspect of what we're experiencing, include in what your journey looks like a focus on your confidence. Even when it's waning, talk about it, describe it, especially to somebody else. This is one of the things that is so essential and why I am a resilience coach. I've seen time and time again through the decades of when it's through the talking about with someone else, having someone else being able to both coach you through it, but encourage to acknowledge, to give you feedback of what you're saying, talking about your confidence. I can talk about your confidence and encourage you in such a way so that you start to all the more experience your confidence, which will help you get out of the pit. In this journey of pain, this journey of resilience, this journey of going down into the pit and coming out of it again, on one hand is a remarkably difficult part of it, but it's also remarkably incredible that we do keep coming out of it over and over again. Just as you're exhausted and I'm exhausted in every possible way in the pit, there is this new energy that comes from coming out of the pit and celebrating it. Because one of the things that we haven't forgotten about, even when we're low, is that even in that exhaustion, we have strengths. We have the wisdom to know that these steps, a devotion to applying them over and over again, is a use of those strengths, a use of that wisdom, even if the conviction isn't there. I'll stay on for just another minute or two and see if you've got any comments that you'd like to share, any questions. I'm here for you. I know, I understand what you're going through. And as someone who experiences pain every day, who is in and out of the pit a few times every week, I get it. I get it. I know it's hard. I know it's worthwhile, though, to both care for and go through it in this way, in these ways, so that we grow through it, so that we don't go through it alone. We're in this together, and I'm here for you. If you'd like to learn more about the Plan to Be Your Best as you navigate pain approach, why don't we talk? Let me share certain aspects of it that will be especially relevant for you. The more you share with me exactly what you're experiencing, the more I can point out different ways of using the 3 steps of resilience or some different facets of the 8 domains of thriving that you can tap into and use and apply. Even if you want to talk, I offer free resilience planning calls. If it's something that is a physical pain and all that comes with that, or if you're grieving something and all that comes with that as well. If it's excessive stress, or if you're trying to be a resilient leader with your, as a family person, family member, or at work, let's talk. I can share with you the options and resources that are available through the Plan to Be Your Best approach. But it gives me a chance to do a couple of things to encourage you, and certainly to remind you that at rickcram.com, you can connect with me there, schedule a time for that free resilient planning call, and take a look at other videos. You'll find insights available to you there. I'm on YouTube. I'm on live every Friday at this time, 12 noon Eastern, and 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon Eastern. I'm showing up for you. And when we do talk, just as now, I'll take the chance to remind you, and I will again and again, that your best is greater than the pain. Thanks so much, and I bid you a good day.